Hello, my name is Chris and I'm a U-Haul hitch professional. If you're planning on towing a trailer with your Hyundai Sonata, then you're going to need trailer wiring. It is required by the law. Now let's take a look at how we do this install. You will need the following tools and supplies to complete this installation. Begin this installation by removing your floor covering. We can now remove the rear scuff panel by removing 2 fasteners that hold in the cargo netting. You can now gently lift up on the scuff panel. We're now going to release the carpeted trim to expose our electrical connectors. We've got 2 fasteners, one we can remove with a trim panel clip, and another cargo net that we can just twist off. You can now slide the trim out of the way and access the electrical connection as well as run any wires. We, however, for clarity, are going to remove a couple more fasteners. Use a Phillips head bit on the first fastener. Use a 10mm socket for the second. We can now disconnect the electrical connector, depress the tab and pull it away. We can now install the yellow and brown connector on the driver's side. We can now affix our white ground wire to a bare metal surface. Rather than using the self-tapping screw, I'm going to go ahead and use an 8mm socket to fix it to one of these tail light connections that's metal on metal. And tighten it snugly, but do not over-tighten. You can now hide your converter box using the double-sided sticky tape. We can now route our green connector to the passenger side tail light. Pass it behind an existing electrical connection to use as an anchor point with a zip tie. Let's remove the passenger side trim. You may only need to remove this one fastener to gain access to pass the wire through, because we can make our connections from the provided trim knockout. Pass the connector out the trim knockout. Be sure to keep the wire hidden. Disconnect the vehicle's connection and insert your T-connectors. You can return your trim knockout and go ahead and replace this fastener as well. Use provided zip ties to secure the green wire to an existing wire harness. We're now ready to install our power wire. We will be installing the U-Haul exclusive Power Wire 1 that has abrasion and heat resistance built into it. To utilize your abrasion resistance, you will route the power wire from the engine rearward first. So pass a fishing pole down the engine compartment so we can fish the fused end back up. Now route the fused end behind any brake lines or components to hide the wire to route to your fuse panel. You can now remove the fuse panel cover. You can now place your ring terminal onto this power point. Remove the fastener with a 10mm socket. Place the ring terminal over the post and re-secure the fastener. Tighten snugly, but do not over-tighten. Reinstall the fuse cover. You can now insert the power wire into the fuse holder. That lead is hot. We will cover it with the cap and return with the fuse after we finish the installation. Now secure and route the power wire rearward, following the hard metal brake lines to the rear of the vehicle. Now that we have our power wire to the rear of the vehicle, we can access the grommet so that we can pass it in. As you can see, our underbody panel has been trimmed, so we can just reach in and use a flathead screwdriver to pop it loose. This particular grommet has a flap, so we do not need to cut anything. Pass the power wire through it. Now pass the power wire into the vehicle and reseat the grommet. You can now trim off any excess power wire. Now connect your power wire. We will use a heat shrink butt connector. Use a heat source like a butane torch to melt the plastic. You can now clean up any excess wiring with zip ties, beginning first with the power wire. Pull it fully into the vehicle and zip tie it to the existing harness so it doesn't fall back into the underbody. Slide your 4-flat connector out of the way and return the driver's side trim. Now reinstall your previously removed fasteners. You can now reinstall your rear scuff panel. Now reinstall your 2 cargo net tie downs. You can now install your dust cover onto your 4-flat connector and use it like a reusable tie. You can now reinstall your floor covering. With the install complete, you can now install your 10 amp fuse. That concludes trailer wiring for your Hyundai Sonata. Please remember to practice safe trailering, and we can't wait to see you out there. If you have any questions about the products seen in this video, or if you'd like to schedule an installation with your local U-Haul hitch professional, please visit us online at uhaulhitches.com. You can also download the U-Haul app using the link in the description for even more ways to manage your hitch and towing needs.